Okay, so now you have your tempo set up and you've checked that you've plugged in all the right things into your interface and that they correctly assigned in your DAW, and it's time to record audio. Before just jumping in and pressing record and hoping for the best, let's first check the level. So I've got my guitar set up, I've record armed it, and I've set up the necessary monitoring. And I'm happy with the level there. Now, this level is controlled by the preamp gain on the audio interface. So if I turn this down, there's a softer level. But if I turn it all the way up, there's a very high level. And it actually goes into the red here on the meter. And that's actually undesirable. What you want is you want to make sure that your audio signal doesn't go into the red, because this is going to cause digital clipping, which is very hard to remove from an audio file after recording to it. So you want to aim for a decent recording level. You don't want to go too high and go into the red, but you also don't want it too soft. If you record at a too low level, what you'll find is when you go in and edit it, you're going to turn up the volume, but this is actually going to raise the low noise floor, and it's just going to add this low noise level that you don't want into your signal. So basically, you want to record not too soft, but also not too loud. So I'm happy with that level that's on my guitar. And another thing that I want to point out is that you must record to a click. This is going to be your guide, and it'll guide you through the recording with timing. Now, you'll have some options for your click. It can play back during recording and playback. I highly recommend both these options. There's also options to have the click play only during the count-in. Now, I'm not going to choose that, but I do want to talk about the count-in more now. What the count-in is over here, my recording is going to start from where I've set this left locator point. And the count-in is basically a click that'll play before it starts recording in. And you also can set up the recorder settings and determine this count-in. By default, it's set up to a bar, but you can have it longer if you want. But a bar is quite a nice time for this count-in. And to demonstrate this, I'm just going to record a small part over this area over here. First, what I want to go over is the transport panel in your DAW. It's usually at the top or at the bottom of your interface. Or it can even be opened up as a floating window. And this houses the recording and playback functions. So here is the record button to start recording, and then this is the play and stop buttons. I like to learn the shortcuts to start these actions. So record is normally the star button on your num keypad, and the playback and stop functions are performed by pressing the space bar. Cool. So now you're ready to record. Cool. So that's my recorded part shown as an audio waveform over here. It gives me a visual representation of the audio that was recorded in. It's quite a decent level. It's a bit hot. I could maybe have dropped the level a bit slightly. Now, I just want to give you a quick demonstration of what would happen if I recorded the signal too hot. So I'm going to undo that part that I've recorded in, and I'm going to turn the gain up on my guitar quite loud. Now, let's see what happens when I do this. So as you can see, that's actually recorded way too loud. It's actually gone further than can be represented in the audio waveform. And it's clipped those high parts. So when I play this back, it's going to be a very undesirable digitally distorted sound. And if I click this and show the waveform in a bigger view, you can see how the waveform is represented by clipping those top parts, and you can't go in and actually remove this. So as I suggested, rather back off and record at a level that's actually not too loud, like that one I just recorded there. Another thing that I wanted to point out is if you're recording a vocal part, make sure that you know how to set up your microphone with your audio interface. You get different microphones that need different setups. With your standard dynamic microphones, like your SM57 or SM58, with these microphones, you can plug it into your audio interface and change it to the mic option and not the instrument or line option. But if you're using a condenser microphone, you'll need to enable or put on the phantom power button. What this does is it sends a 48 volts to the condenser to power the microphone up and give it signal. So just remember to check this out if you're using a condenser microphone. Cool. So that's how to record your audio in. Make sure you've armed the track, you've set up the input level on your interface, and that you got a click to give you a guide, and you've got your content set up to warn you when you're coming in to record an audio part. Cool. So now that you know how to record audio, you can go in and start recording your own audio parts to your song.